Land acknowledgements are often presented in shared spaces where we gather in person, but on a podcast, we recognize that each one of us occupies space on Indigenous land. We call on you, our listeners, to acknowledge that Indigenous people are the original inhabitants and caretakers of this land and have distinctive and sovereign rights and responsibilities that are directly connected to land, community, culture, and knowledge. With this in mind, please take the time to find out what territory you are on at native-land.ca and make a move to support our amazing Indigenous firecrackers like Jennifer Podemsky, Marie Clements, Jules Kustachin, Tamara Podemsky, Tracy Deer, and so many more. Hey everyone, it's Naomi, and before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about a podcast that I think you'll just love. It's called Second Act Actors with Janet McMorty. Now, Second Act Actors is a web series and a podcast where Dr. Janet McMorty, a fellow firecracker, thank you very much, chats with people who have made a major life or career change into acting. Janet was originally, and still is, a medical doctor. I know. She decided to pursue acting and started meeting more and more people like her who had made this choice and was just fascinated by their stories. Past guests have included Barry Clifton from The Thing About Pam, Alvin Cohen from Better Call Saul, Eliza Shin from This Is Us, and then recently she recorded her very first live episode with Canadian comedy legends Deb McGrath and Colin Mockery. Love those two. It was at the iconic El Macombo in Toronto, and I was there. It was a fantastic night. So go have a listen wherever you get your podcasts, but you can also watch Second Act Actors on YouTube. Give Second Act Actors a follow also on Instagram at Second Act Actors, of course. Hey Firecrackers, it's Naomi, and welcome to the Firecracker Department. It's been a minute, right? Well, it's been a minute as in a pandemic. Didn't work. I thought I'd try. Didn't work. Anyway, it's been a pandemic, and in the middle of recording the Firecracker Department podcast episodes, we did a mini series, the Blaze Sessions. Hope you enjoyed that with the amazing co-host of Amanda Brugel. God, I love her. She won the Blaze Award last year in Firecracker Department World, and we coupled it with having her co-host a mini-series and curate the guests that she wanted to have on the show. So that was fantastic. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you listened. Hope you shared. So now we're back at it, and I can't think of a better way to start than with somebody like Beatrix Brunschko. Beatrix? Doesn't sound right. Trixie. She's Trixie. So Trixie and I have known each other forever. We're improvisers in the world. We met in Germany at the Die Gorillas festival over at the Ratibor Theater in Berlin. And I just fell in love. You know, you meet folks like her and you fall in love instantly. And then I was just like, how do I spend more time with her? And then I think it's been a decade. Who's counting years? Any hoozle. I'm excited to jump into this discussion. I don't want to waste another minute. Trixie is not only an improviser, but she is an actor, film, stage, TV. She's a director. She's a founding member of Theatre Bahnhof in Graz. Yeah, Bahnhof in Graz. I think it means railway station. I'm pretty sure it does. No, I'm sure it does. She was in a couple things like Soku Danu and Friedrich Weihnachten. Oh boy, the Germans are listening to this, shaking their head, because I'm shaking my head at myself. And now she's a professor at the University of Hamburg, so she can do anything. You're going to listen to this, and then you're going to want to find her on social media and find out how to take workshops with her, because she is extraordinary. You just want to spend time and be in her orbit. I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get cracking with my conversation with Trixie. Here we go. I'm so happy. Trixie, I'm so happy to have time with you. Like just you visiting here. And then this is like, it's bonus. It's bonus material. You're so Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about talking to you and I was like, because I know you as an improviser, but there's this whole other world of you as an artist, as a professor, as a TV film actress, as a creator, as a director that I don't even know. So that's funny because when I met you the first time in Berlin, I was like, power. Like I knew you were powerful. And then as I was like getting to know you, I'm like, oh, of course she's got these other skills. Was this always in the plan? Like, did you grow up thinking, this is what I need to do? Or how was the road to theater and art?
I was doing theater in school, in high school. And I was lucky to have a teacher who was a complete theater nerd.
Yeah. That helps.
And he was also a very good director. So our plays were really good. We got invited to international festivals, also to
fancy
grown-up festivals where there are like professional theaters, or semi-professional theaters, like adults.
Yeah.
And then, I never thought I want to be an actor. I just did it all the time.
Is that your nature to just do things, like just embrace what's coming your way? Like, do you plan? Because you've got, here's what I think. Mm-hmm. Two sides, right? You've got the analytical, which is your professor, which is your director, and then you've got your heart, which is your improviser, which is go with the flow. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, that's both.
Yeah. But it sounds like at the beginning of this journey into art, you just were like, I'm just going to go.
Yeah, I was just doing it.
Yeah. Was there ever a conscious choice? Like, did you ever? Because I also think, I think it's different in Europe. We've talked about this, right? That if you're pursuing art in Canada, North America, it's scarier.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you pursue this in Europe, or at least in your community.
In the 80s, it was easier.
Yeah.
Like, we founded the theater. We were all students. None of us has an education, a theater education. We never went to acting school. None of us. But we are the biggest independent theater in Austria in the meantime. So we were just doing it all the time.
Yeah.
And then we were applying for grants, and then we got it. In the 80s, it was easy. You cannot do this now. It would be way harder now.
I mean, we spoke about this the other night, though, about how you're still funded. You're given an allowance. You're given a salary.
Yeah, but we are also lucky to be one of the few theaters that get so much money that we can live from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also in the theater, we were just doing things we thought we want to do.
Yeah.
We are always political when we work. And we always root our work in our town, in our private life. And so we always did what we wanted to do. We never had to put on something because of.
Yeah.
And
you're not doing like a Christmas carol.
Yeah.
Because it's Christmas time.
Unless we want to say something with it.
Yeah.
Other than entertaining or so. Also, we entertain a lot.
But was that conscious that let's make things that have a purpose and an opinion?
This all grew with us.
Yeah.
And since we were doing this for fun, like also the theater, we did this for fun.
Yeah.
And then we got successful, and then we kind of earned money with it. Then we put all the money into education. So we hired teachers to educate us. Teachers from the university.
Like what kind of
voice
classes?
teachers,
Amazing.
Drama teachers, movement teachers.
So you built your own theater school.
But just for us, not for anybody else.
That's incredible.
And then suddenly we were on this point where we had this. This was a conscious decision of the ensemble. It was one night, and it was like, should we do this now and proceed and give up everything else and stay in Theatre Bahnhof? And then we are not allowed to play with other theaters. It was a really strict decision. It's us now, and we have to put all our energy in here so that we can make a living with it.
So you're saying let's commit to being an ensemble for this theater.
And
as opposed to
nothing
working
else.
all over the place.
Yeah. So for a while, and then it was also a night where we were just all drunk and had this high emotional.
What do you mean when you made the decision?
And that was decision night. And the next day we said, and that night we said, because we had a little theater at the train station. This is why we called like this. And then they kicked us out, and then we were all over the place in Graz. And that night we said, okay, who wants to commit has to commit. We don't play in other theaters. We have to clean toilets before we play with other theaters.
Yes.
Yes, Rupert having a speech.
Yeah.
And then we said, and tomorrow we built our own theater. And then next morning we got up. I had such a hangover.
Yeah.
And then we got the newspapers, and then we were looking for spaces where we could build a theater in.
Yeah.
And then one of our members, his father has a construction company. So he said, it was all in 1 week. So he said, I give you 1 million shillings and 2 workers, and they help you build the theater if you find the space and all the material. And in 10 years, within 10 years, you have to pay me back with interest. And we were like, yeah. And then we found the space and built the theater. And working on the construction, and while we did that, we were also like rehearsing, because we said we will open it in a month. So we had to put on a show in a month while building a theater. So this is how we work. It's always like so.
Yeah.
And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And we said basically yes to everything as long as it fits our artistic ideas.
Right.
And then we just try. And I think it's the same. I was also like, oh, this works. Mm-hmm. And then I started to teach at the university. It was just an improv workshop, because the acting university in Graz suddenly was interested in us.
But wait, you didn't have improv on your mind originally?
No, we did not improvise. We improvised. We always improvise when improvised developing our material.
Sure, that's sort of like, development improv, yeah.
And then when we have built the theater 96, some of us, it was not even me, I was not there because I was working at the site. I was selling records to get money in a record store. Mm-hmm. And then some went to do a workshop, and that was an improv workshop with a Danish guy. Uh-huh. Per Smerigard or something.
Do you know him? Like, do you still work with him?
No, we don't.
Oh, okay.
But he's in Aarhus, and he has founded a theater there.
Okay.
And then they all came back and said, this is such a great thing.
Right.
And I was like, what is this? I wasn't there.
Right.
And then we put on every Monday. Said, okay, let's improvise every Monday. We had our own theater. So Monday is improv night.
Yeah.
And since
Charmed.
we improvise every Monday.
Yeah.
Since 96. Monday is our improv evening.
It seems like a fairy tale. Like, you know, when somebody says, let's build a theater, and suddenly a month later you're...
stupid.
Well, but don't you think that sometimes happens is the less we know, sometimes it's the better?
Yeah.
Because then you don't see ahead going, oh, this is going to be really hard. You just go, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Did you find, because it feels like your theater company is very... like a opinion-driven, purposeful, and art first.
Yeah.
So did you ever find a time where you were like, we got to find a way of bringing people in, and it might not suit, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, the balance between art and commerce is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, we do that. We do that on purpose.
Yeah.
So we are a fixed ensemble. And we made the conscious decisions years ago that this is the ensemble.
Right.
There is nobody else coming in. Like all our decisions, like strict.
Absolutely not. And then next day, maybe.
Yeah, like we had this thing, like partners could come in.
Right.
Like
Jacob, yeah.
But
did Jacob invent that rule? Did he like...
No, that was always there. But still, we are the same. These 15 people we are for, like 12 of us are working together since 30
Amazing.
years. But then we said we cannot do this. this will close our mind. So we always invite people to work with us. They are not in the ensemble.
Right. They come in for a contract.
Yeah, at the moment we are working with a Syrian actor and an actor from Iraq who do a lot of stuff with us. Then we mingle with the town theater ensemble for a while. So we put our productions there, and the actor had mixed ensembles with the town theater. And then we invite directors to work with us, who don't have our theater language, so that we don't get stuck in.
Oh, that's smart.
In one way of doing things.
Yeah, because if you have an ensemble where you say nobody's coming in, then you're all just going to regenerate the same sort of. You need to shake it up, right?
We don't do this. Yeah.
So you were doing improv. You brought improv in. You were doing theater sports, right?
Yeah, for 3 Mondays, and then we dropped it.
Did you know in your heart? Because I know theater sports seems very like the antithesis to what you were creating. It's very structured. It's competitive.
Yeah. We started with theater sports, and our Monday show was called Sports on Monday because there was a big a TV show, the sport magazine for like 30 years that had the same name. And we got the anchor guy from the TV being our host for the first show.
Right.
He did not know what this was.
Right.
It was really just fun. He was just standing on stage.
Right.
But it was Robert Seeger doing being our first host. And we did the show with a student group from the university, not from the Performing Arts University, from the normal university. There was a group doing improv, and then we lost interest pretty well. We always have to have another team. And it's always this, so we stopped doing this and said we can do this without the competition, just do the games and scenes.
Yeah.
And like basically our improv is like this. We do first half since ever.
Yeah.
First half is short form. Second half we do long forms.
Yeah.
And also that was the best decision we ever made, because the audience is coming to see improv in Graz. They are not coming to see a format. So we can do Herald, improvised sitcoms without announcement. People are coming on Monday to see us improvise, and they don't care what it is.
Yeah.
And then we have our specialties like Jacob Solo on the side. These are special improv. But the Monday is just improv.
Yeah.
And we did not know by then that was the best decision, because if we would have stuck to theater sports,
I think you would have tired your audience, right?
Yeah, and they would expect this.
Yeah. Yeah, and now you just keep them on their toes that they know they're going to have a good show. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's announced as a Monday, the improvised show.
Yeah.
And then whatever we want to do there, we do.
We've just spent like 5 days talking about theater in this house because you're staying here for a visit. And I feel like when we speak about art, it is like the kind of discussions I love, because it's risky. It's not, well, let's do a play. Well, let's do a Shakespeare play. Well, it's not it's not expected. There's nothing that you're creating that I go, oh yeah, I've seen that before. I've never seen a lot of what you do before.
Yeah.
I want to hear about the process of your collaboration in your company. Does somebody come with an idea and then you build, or talk to me about that?
We always change our processes. Like in general, it's like this. If you really want to do something, you just put it in and we will find a way to do it.
So somebody might come and be like, I need to do a 50-person play about dogs.
Yeah.
It's been done. It's called 15 Dogs, and it's a little lesser, but yes. Yeah.
No, you can do that. If you have an idea and you really you have an idea and you want to do this, then you will be able to do it.
So do you have like a meeting every month that goes, okay, let's find out who has new ideas?
We also, this process is changing all the time. Usually we have like one big meeting, like before the next season. Let's see. It's also tied to the money support system, because we have to hand in yearly programs to apply for next year. And we have like in the province is giving us money for 3 years, so we have to hand in a 3 years plan. So the first year has to be really concrete, but then we also have to give an overview of what we do the second year and what we will do the third year.
Right.
So, and then the town is granting us for every 2 years. So we are also lucky to have this, not like from year to year. So we get a budget for a long period of time. Right. So we have this big meeting where we say, okay, what do we do the next 3 years? And then always the thing comes in, because we always like deal with the political situation.
What do you mean political situation?
Like but like how
happening?
it is, what's happening in the town.
Yeah, so you start with that, like what's going on in Graz.
Yeah. Let's, for instance, that was the last show. I was not in it, but this is just the freshest one. For instance, Graz has a communistic mayor. This is a really rare thing in the world, that a Western country has a town where the mayor is a communist woman.
Right.
She was a social worker. She is at the end of her 50s.
Yeah.
And we have a green vice mayor, 2 women running the town.
Right.
And that made the news. Even the New York Times was writing about it. And so Rupert had a phone call with artists' friends from Berlin who were like, what's going on there? This is like DDR, like the East German thing, what's going on? And he had a long talk with them. And then he said, this is just so weird that all of a sudden the whole world is interested in our social worker mayor, who is like, yes, she's a communist, but she's not the communist people think.
Right. Imagine. Right.
Yeah. And actually nothing, it's pretty cool now, because 2 women are ruling the town.
Right.
So it has a different vibe.
Yeah.
Before that, we had a right-wing vice mayor, like a real Nazi right-wing vice mayor, and a conservative mayor. But it's not so, nothing changes that much.
Right.
You know?
But that's what's going on in your...
That's So, and said, let's make a play about this.
Right.
So the last play was, as Jacob said, and we also rebuilt the theater.
But you invited this mayor, right? You invited her to the show?
She came to watch it. So it was basically a play where 6 actors were playing her.
Yeah.
And like different sides on her personality, but also on communism, on communism in the neoliberal world we live. Then we also had this. They kind of reenacted this interview with the guys in Berlin and filmed them, like reenacting, doing this phone call again. So we had this in, and so we work with all these little things. And it was just Rupert who said, we have to do something about this.
What was her reaction?
She loved it a lot, as I heard. I wasn't there.
So, okay, so then you're bringing to the table your ideas.
Yes.
And then all of you, how do you know how it shapes?
Yeah, it's also, this has changed over the time as well, because in the meantime, we also have partners, like this big theater arts festival like Steirischer Herbst, who they invite us almost every year to do a production there. So we know this is a fixed thing. So in September, we have this big co-production with the Steirischer Herbst. So they have a theme. So we have to do something with their theme.
Great, yeah. So you know that's something in your
So we have, program. Over the year, we have 2 big things where we know we are co-producing with other theaters.
Yeah.
And in between, sometimes we find themes where I say, okay, this year is under the theme of... and then...
Like what's been the past themes that you've used?
The past themes, at the moment, the theme... At the moment, I don't even know exactly, because I'm not there for the last 2 years. But like when COVID hit, we already had the theme to work with the end of work.
Oh, interesting.
But that was before COVID hit. We wanted to work about the digital. The computer are taking over everything and taking away.
Look where we are.
The work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we wanted to have to make productions.
You were
about
ahead of the
these
times.
Themes, yeah.
Yeah.
And then suddenly COVID hit and it was the end of work.
But also with like AI.
Yeah, we wanted to do something
You
with
were,
this.
You were
Yeah.
ahead.
So it's always something that's in the air.
Yeah.
And then we have like Edis, our artistic director. He has such a he smells the things that are in the air.
Right. Yeah.
And he is such an input. He just can give these pushes.
Yeah.
And then
right.
makes like this. And then everybody contributes.
Yeah. And then how do you decide, because you directed, was that one of your company's show that you directed Jacob in last year?
Yeah, that was this co-production with this theatre festival, for instance.
All right.
And this was, the theme of that festival was A War in the Distance. And this is also classical music, art galleries. It's these are dancers. It's a huge thing, and they had this theme.
Yeah.
So I had to come up with something that fits the theme.
Right. I mean, it's a charmed life, right? That this is the world we live in. You wake up and you're like creative, and what's coming your way to create, and now you're teaching. Well, you've always been teaching, but you're teaching in Hamburg now. So how do you balance like what's the thing you always want to do, and what are the things that stop you from doing those things? Do you know, like, because you're teaching, you're directing, you're acting, you're improvising, and is there anything that you are unbalanced with? Like, is there anything that you wish you could do more of?
Yeah, at the moment it's unbalanced. I teach more than I act.
Yeah. Yeah, you can feel it in your system.
Yeah,
I feel that too.
I have to change this. But I don't have time to change this at the moment. I had to adjust because taking on this job and being a professor at the university, it's not just teaching, it's just all the things that comes with it.
Yeah.
And I knew it because I was working at the university for 20 years, but I was there just not a professor, so I was just teaching.
Right.
And I was involved in all of these things because Uni in Graz also involves the not professors in many of the things. But it was also, I didn't have to do it.
Right. Yeah, because you were a full professor before. And now you're into it.
Yeah, so this at the moment takes up a lot of time, and this has to change.
I want to hear your thoughts around improv, because I feel like, I remember I heard an interview you had with Randy of saying that theater is so important to improv.
Yeah.
And I don't think that everybody approaches it that way.
No.
Can you, right? But I feel like maybe that's also one of the reasons why we gravitate to each other and because there is a level of theatricality that I love so much in improv.
Yeah.
Talk to me about where that sits for you as an artist.
First of all, which is the cool thing about improv is that you don't have to be a theater person to go on stage and do theater. Mm-hmm. This is cool. Mm-hmm. So this is a theater form that is inviting all different kinds of people to work with each other. And I can also work with a person who is in real life a lawyer and doesn't like to go to theater.
I know.
And then we are on stage
and then you find some magic together.
We do this.
I love that.
This is
so much.
Wonderful.
I did a scene once with a data entry. He just did data entry, and it was so beautiful. Yeah. I remember it was, I don't know how we got the suggestion, but I was dying. And then he said something like, look at that star. I bought that star for you. And then there was a scene after I died and he was like, there she is. Like, it was so beautiful. I could cry thinking about it.
Yeah, this is wonderful. This is the wonderful thing about this art form. And this is why I always want to do this.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like this, most of the people are not interested in theater who do improv.
Talk to me about that, because I have a lot of improvisers that don't even call themselves actors.
Yeah.
They go, I'm an improviser, I'm not an actor.
Acting is not, in most of these lives, or theater lives, acting is not included. Yeah. Improvising is not acting for them.
Yeah, it's joking, or it's like finding, because I do... there's room for it all, right? Like I love a good improv show that's jokes. And
I love this too.
But I also love the idea of having those jokes stop and have a moment of like, oof.
Yeah. But this is what I recently teach because I want to change this in the improv world.
Yeah.
And now since I'm a professor, I get more hired for these workshops.
Right.
Like to bring the acting in.
Yeah.
It's, not just, of course they have workshops where they act, but also this, what the most of them don't get is that it's that you are on stage as the audience sees the character, and behind the character you are, and the character looks like you. Behind it's you being an actor or a puppeteer, like playing the character.
Yeah.
Behind those two of you is you, your private you, with your personal life, with your how you feel today. And in improv, so this is those three, you go like those three are on stage when you're acting.
Okay, go again. So the first one
is me as a character.
Yeah.
Behind it's me as an actress. Behind it's me.
Right.
So I go on stage with these three me's.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it depends on the theater form, which one is more visible, like performing arts, more like the private me sometimes is the first that people see.
Right. But they're all together.
Yeah, they're all together.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
As an improviser, there is me as a writer, me as a director, and me as a dramaturg. I'm 6 times me on stage.
Yes.
At the same time. And this is so that people, it's not like I go on stage and do it. It's a complex, very, very complex act when you go on stage and improvise.
Yeah.
And this is like, you have to be aware of this. Mm-hmm. And these actor, writers, director, they are all in the context of theater. But most of the people, they don't even are aware of this.
Right. And so with you changing the world, let's just say it, because you're going to change the world with what you're teaching. But what is your goal right now as you teach? At the moment, what strikes me most, and this is what I say in my workshops all the time, I kind of, when I teach all over the place, in Europe and sometimes in not in Europe, but everywhere I see the same scenes. Yeah. It's like they look alike. Yeah, yeah. It's everywhere the same, and the scenes are about the same things all the time. Right. It's like and there's like, I often say there must be this big book of improvisation. Yeah. And there's always written, sisters. Okay, sisters, it's okay, we fight about a piece of clothing or a man, or who like, if mom likes you more than me. Right. These are the 3 options you do. Yeah. That's it. If it's a father and son, you're going to talk about sports. You're going to talk about growing up and being a man. You're going to, it's like. Know? So, and then what I like to teach at the moment is that, and also improvisers don't like to be bad characters. No. They don't like to do anything, like they fight a lot, but most of the time it's the actors behind the characters who fight. Yeah. Or if it's really worse, it's the private person behind the character and the actor, the private person who fight with each other. Yeah. And they pretend it's the characters. Right. Right. You know? But that's the exciting part too, is like people not winning, right? Yeah. We were talking about this the other day of like, why does everybody have to win all the time? Yeah. Because guess what? Life isn't like that. So now you're putting something on stage that isn't actually like life. Yeah. So my favorite workshop at the moment is to teach them to be really cruel to each other. Like really. Tell me what you do. What I do, I just invented an exercise 2 weeks ago. I love it. I was teaching the workshop and they were all like, yeah, but I cannot really say this to my... It's not you. It's your character. Your character can say this. And it's not you. I would challenge that a little bit because it is us. Like,
Of course.
if we detach ourselves and going, oh, I'm just playing a character.
Of course.
Then we're not really in the character.
Yeah.
But if I go, look, I'm going to... But that goes back to what we were talking about yesterday, about that intimacy discussion.
Yeah.
Right? So Trixie, we're going to be on stage and you're going to think I hate you. But I love you. I'm just hating you for art. Right?
Yeah. This is the thing. And it's just, we just play.
We're just playing.
We just play. So,
and also, like, we might hate each other sometimes. That's okay. Like, we're gonna get through these things because I love you more than hate.
But we have to be aware of what we are doing here.
Okay, so you
that workshop was really hard.
So what do you go? You say like everybody has to meet.
Yeah,
each other?
First I take the present game of Keith Johnston, like where you get a present and you have to be happy about it. You have to really be happy about the present and say thank you. You're the best person. This is what I ever wanted to do. So first thing is to make them be really thankful and happy about the present, not being like, thank you, nice.
Yeah, stop being so cool about everything.
Just care. Be happy.
That's what I always, when I teach, I'm like, just start caring. Yeah. Right? Because people are so cool. They're like, I'm not, I have a present? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. It's very nice.
Yeah.
So, first step. Second step, really, really hating it.
Right.
And hating the present, but more than the present, you hate the person who were daring to give you this present.
Right.
Really do it. And at the end of this scene, you destroy it. And if it's a mouse, you kill it.
Yeah.
Or if whatever. Yeah. So this is like it's the easy step. And then it was like, and they were like really not hating each other and like getting personal. And then I was
you're teaching people to hate each other.
And then I was like, but also in the good ways, they were not like really. It was always like they are acting.
Right.
So I was the whole night I was thinking, how can I get them? The workshop was called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So I was like, how can I? And then I thought, okay, let's do this. And I said, this is a tryout. And we now agree that we all are just playing. Everything that's been said now, it's not personal at all on the private level.
Yeah.
But we try something out. And it will probably touch and move the private person, but it's not serious. Can we agree about this? And who doesn't want to do it can leave the room anytime.
Right.
So I put them on like on tables, and then like in a speed dating situation.
Yeah.
They were sitting facing each other. There was like 6 tables, 12 people. And I said, okay, now one person sits and the other person, and the person who is this is the receiving person, and she can decide, or he, do I want to receive good or bad?
And?
So you decide this and tell your partner who sits in front of you, you can tell me, I take bad.
Yeah.
And then that person had get really like tell this person the worst things ever about her.
Yeah.
But it has to be you messages. It's not I think you are. It has every sentence has to start with you are.
Right.
You did. You. This word I and me is not involved in the conversation. And that person has to sit there and take it because she decided I can take it. And then observing, what does this do to you?
Yeah.
And like the first round, I was like, oh God, what do I do?
Yeah.
But then, because they really agreed about they are doing this, they had so much fun.
Right.
And most of the time they made decision like, I take the bad.
Interesting.
And then after I said, okay, now you can like, and you are not allowed to say anything, to do anything. You just sit there and take it and observe what does it do to you.
Yeah, to your system.
And then after a while I said, can you please decide for good?
Right, because everybody was choosing bad.
Give me the bad. And also the acting persons were like really getting into like being really like, and they had so much fun with it. So this is a good exercise.
Yeah. It unleashes, right? There's a little bit of permission.
Yeah.
There has to be, I think that we're missing a step before the show.
Yeah.
Of, before the show, people are putting their makeup on, they're getting dressed. There isn't a discussion of like, it's okay to be angry and hate me, right? There's not that discussion. And I think there has to be some sort of, I don't know, maybe that's too polite.
No,
or...
it's so that cool. It's also this, at the moment, I really struggle with this political correctness on stage. You're not allowed to say this. You're not allowed to play this. This is not, no, you cannot do this anymore. You cannot play, like in our theater, we always say, I say it in Austrian German, einer muss der Nazi sein. It's called, we say one has to be the Nazi on stage.
Right.
You need the one person, like to...
Right.
You need the one who punches so that you can show the victim. Otherwise
you're like this.
You're like this all the time.
Same.
It's about
It's
nothing.
like saying, my favorite is like, I read your diary, right? And you can react to it and let that affect you, or you can go, I read your diary. So now we're back to one. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's the thing. And
interesting.
And then I said, in that room, we are 12 in that room. You can also, like, you can go anywhere. We agreed we are just playing.
Yeah.
You can be a sexist. You can be a racist when you sit here and make the bed. And then let's try doing the racist, but being nice.
A nice racist is always a lovely scene.
And they were like, oh yeah. And it's like just this acting part. They are always themselves on stage. It's always the private person just being in front of the character.
Yeah.
They don't let the character do things they themselves would never ever even think about.
But then why are we, like, if we aren't playing characters, why are we in this business? Or if not characters, but if we're not expanding or like, do you do any kind of debrief afterwards for?
I let them talk about it.
Yeah,
because this was I just invented this.
Yeah.
So the first round was okay. You take it, and then I let them do this for 50 seconds.
Yeah,
and they did not know that it's 50 seconds.
Yeah.
So I said, good, it's over. The person who acted, who was giving it, is leaving the table, and the other one sits, and both of you think about it,
right,
and observe what it does do with you. So there was this silence in the room and all these emotions, and I saw, no, this is not. Oh my God! Yeah. So that okay, now next. So we switch. That's right. We switch.
Cut focus, everybody.
And then I said next round. Then I said, okay, it's over.
Yeah,
talk about it.
Yeah,
you all talk about it. I don't care what you just talk about it. Yeah. How this was for you. And then it was so. That was such a. They were just. That was so cool.
Yeah, because they were
just talking,
chatting about. Because I do think, like what you said, the political correctness of our world, I think you're right, but I also think there's ownership. So if we're on stage and you say something that has really hit my heart for some way, we have to own that.
Yeah.
I can't say, oh no, it was fine, and then go home going, oh, I'm carrying that with me. So after the show, I don't think we do that enough either, where at the end of the show going, like we did our show last week, you and me, over at the Toronto SoCap. And I remember hearing Jacob saying, oh, that was a moment he didn't like, or that he remember when you came in and we weren't sure what character it was. But to have that option too of going like the oops, I could have done that better. Yeah. Why not?
It's fine.
Why not? Then we're at least owning what we're doing as opposed to holding the grudges of like, oh, you did this to me on stage and it really upset me. And
talking about it.
Go figure, huh?
Yeah, and just I do this with my students a lot at the university. I let them talk about it, but not. I let them. The exercise is to describe how I always say, how was it? Mm-hmm. Describe it, or what did you see? Describe. I don't want your opinion. Example. If they observe a scene, I want them to describe what they have seen and not what they. I tried, how to say this, not to give an opinion about what they think, how this scene was, or how you could do, what you should have done better, or what you think, what you thought when you did this.
Right.
It's just like plain describing energy, rhythm, speed,
describe it.
Describe it.
Yeah, I understand.
Describe it. And then it's also this in improv, if you talk after a show, this, but you, didn't you see, but you did not, but I did this. Haven't you seen? But it was clear. It was clear that it's going that way. Why didn't you listen? It's like, yeah, it
That's
was
so
clear
blamey,
for
though.
you.
Yeah. And also, we're improvisers, so guess what? You can make something out of anything.
Yeah.
I'm talking more about, like, I did a show a couple months ago, played out in Toronto, and my friend brought in a character who had dementia. And my mom died of dementia. Yeah. And afterwards, she was like, are you okay with that? I didn't know how far. But if we had talked before and I said, look, my personal life is fair game. If you want to bring in anything, it's all fair.
Yeah.
Or if I had said, my personal life is fair game, but I would prefer not to deal with the dementia tonight. It's really not something I want to talk about. Then it would have been free, right? She wouldn't have been so cautious and maybe gone further with those character choices. And still at the end, she said, look, I feel bad. I'm like, don't worry about it. But it's a discussion, right? Yeah. You have a discussion as artists so that you can, I don't know, have a playing ground that is, I hate to use the word safe because it feels overused, but safer spaces.
No, I'm completely agree with safe space. Yeah. But if the safe space cannot provide being a safe space that something really is happening, so that's just such a safe space that you are not allowed anything to happen.
Yeah, then where are you going to go? Like, the space is like, it's going to be like doing an improv in a marshmallow and yummy, but not effective.
And let's do the sister scene where we...
Yeah, let's just do the sister scene where we both read each other's diaries and nothing happens. Okay, what is something in your class as a teacher that you have seen, other than what we've just talked about, which is the carefulness? Is there anything that you go, oh, this is typical of a young improviser, and here's what I always try to bring in? Like almost advice that you would give to a new improviser, and then something that you teach in order to counteract that.
What I teach, like when I'm not teaching, is follow the leader. Mm-hmm. I try not to teach from the beginning. This is my stick. I'm not teaching. There is an offer. You have to say yes and do it. Which of course you have to, but this is follow the leader. I prefer to teach follow the follower.
Okay, tell me more.
It's my ant power thing. I like.
What do you mean your ant power?
I call it the power of the ants. It's like my favorite workshop. I like to teach most with, and I teach this with all levels, and they can also be all levels in one workshop. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Nobody is doing anything. Nobody has any idea. We are just doing what the others are doing.
Okay, so set it up for me. Tell me how that works.
First, I just started with physical things. Like you walk through the room and you only walk like other people are walking. Mm-hmm. And you don't walk like you want to walk. Mm-hmm. Or you have three options. You walk like you want to walk, however you want to move. Mm-hmm. Or you move like anybody else's move, like you move like somebody else, mm-hmm. or you connect with someone and then you walk together and figure out how your walk together will be.
Right.
So, and you can switch to all things, and all of a sudden nobody walks alone anymore. People are just walking like others or walking together, and nobody wants to be special.
Right.
So that's the basic thing I teach them.
I know.
And then that's from now on we do this. If we do a scene and we sit in opposite to each other, we are only sit like the other person is sitting. We are not allowed to have or we just read the face and have to look like that. Like I look like you look.
Yeah, emotionally too, right?
Yeah. And then we have the same emotion. Mm-hmm. And then let's see what those sisters are talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, don't you think most of this could be solved with breathing?
Yes, and breathe.
You know, like, I mean, I do it too. I'm on stage, and then I'm not breathing, and then I'm not actually living.
Yeah. And just be like the other person is. Not be different.
Yeah.
Just stay the same and see where this is leading you to. And I tell you, all these scenes they are doing in my workshop, you have never, ever seen before on an improv stage.
Right.
Never, ever. And I don't see any of these scenes in my workshop being the same. It's always different because it's a different face, it's a different person, these are different eyes, and then we start from a completely different place. If I completely forget myself and get myself out of the equation, and so completely, I don't do what I think, I just do what you're doing.
Right.
And it's kind of the same. It's not. It's a complete yes, and I say yes to everything. I say yes to you. Yes to
It's mirroring,
you.
right?
But mirroring is mirror. It's a small. If you start mirroring, then it's you get stuck in a loop and nothing happens.
Right. This is it. This is the thing.
So
how do you heighten that?
Yeah, this is always this is the thing about awareness. If I say, when I see they get stuck in a mirror, you're not doing exactly the same. You are just doing what the other one is doing.
Yeah.
And you are just taking on this face, but in the meantime, he's taking on your face. So it's not mirroring.
Right. It's your version of that face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's always a little reaction on each other, but it's not a react like you say something and I say something, but I just react like you react now, and it's like you get different characters. It's kind of magic.
What do you do when you see they're stuck?
Then I tell them don't mirror, break the mirror.
Break the mirror. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's awareness, and this is something that's also in improv. This being really aware what you are doing. That's the three things again.
Yeah.
Being aware on which of these three persons are you dealing with at the moment? Are you dealing with your acting self, with your personal self, or with your character self at the moment? Where are you at the moment? It's all. And this is what's missing in improv is being aware what you are doing. And there's so often this is missing.
Yeah.
But also it's not taught, because that's actually
How do you
it's
teach
acting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just muscles, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you teach awareness?
Yeah. In my workshops, I mostly do one exercise for.
Yeah. That's the other thing.
Time in
I know you
workshops.
have like these students for how long? Like a year.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, like a university.
Yeah, in university I have so much time that I sometimes have too much time. But also,
So how do you teach that awareness? Is there something that you have that keeps that develops that?
It's an aware, like it's. I try to do this with every exercise, and it always has this level afterwards where I say, how did it feel inside doing it? Describe what you felt, and then how was it outside watching it? Then you get two different awarenesses, and then this is a process where I think, okay, I felt this, but they saw this, and they felt this when I did. It's in improv we don't have, especially in workshops. I'm always also my workshops are just like my end workshops are 6 exercises, and I do this in 6 exercises in 3 days.
Right. Oh my God, I cram. I put so
I
much. I'm like, go, let's go.
Time.
Yeah.
Just time. And also the most important thing is also hearing the people who are watching.
Yeah.
Because in workshops, sometimes it's like, I'm not on stage, so I'm not learning, and I have to go on stage. And don't just sit there and watch.
Yeah.
And then tell what you saw.
Yeah.
And then you get an awareness of what.
Yeah. What's your favorite exercise to teach?
My favorite exercise. Oh my God.
You've been teaching for so long.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
Yeah, is the magic music from Viola Spolin.
Tell me, I don't know if I know this one.
There's a Keith Johnston version and the Spolin version, and I always find this very interesting. It's a group mind exercise. like the group sits on one end of the room, one person leaves the room. So the group decides if the person comes in, he has to go in the middle of the room, stand on one leg, and whistle. We want him to do that.
Right.
So then the person, and then they start singing a song. A song they could sing forever, a song everybody knows, and they could, if needed, sing for an hour.
Okay.
And then the person comes, they sing the song in the middle volume, and then the person comes in, and then they direct the person to do what they want him to do by singing louder or silenter, together as a choir.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
And if they are really good in that, and they have the same volume, then the person, you can make people do anything.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So, and there is the other version where it's the same setup, but if the person does something that it's not in the direction what you want the person to do, the group makes
Right.
It's like, wrong.
As opposed to singing the song.
Yeah, and it's just louder.
Yeah.
And this is.
And so you're trying to get this person to come in, stand in one, and whistle.
And whistle.
And so
on that spot of the stage.
If they come in and sit down, you go,
That's the Johnston version. It's called the dolphin game.
Right.
And it's
right.
But
your version,
version, it's not mine. Spolin version is the person comes in, and if he starts singing
very
down,
softly.
You sing softly.
I've never heard that. I love it.
And this is such. It's called magic music, and it's my favorite. I always, when I do it, it's like I give this to you as a present.
Yeah.
Because if the group has different volumes, that person does not know what to do.
Right, you have to be together.
You have to be the same.
Agreement. Oh, I love it. Yeah.
And also, the person can try out everything. It's not like, wrong. Okay, try something else. Here it's getting quieter. Okay, maybe I go over there. Oh, now it's getting louder.
Yeah,
if
right.
I do this, it's no, I don't do this. Okay, I do this, and it's is just a thing. And sometimes you have to sing for half an hour.
Right. So
and
that'd be something you all know too.
Game.
Yeah.
Like, no. And then the choir falls apart and they start laughing, saying, "You can't do this. If you like, it's over. The person does not know what to do."
Yeah.
And also, if the person loses I can't get it. It's like, just listen to the music.
Yeah.
It's like a little dance.
Oh, I love it.
And this is basically my Bible is Spolin.
Mm-hmm.
It's follow the follower. It's this. It's not. It is yes and, but not. It's not follow the leader. Improv is like, yeah, this was my. I said that. You have also say yes and do it.
Yeah, because I said so.
Because I said so. And if you're not, you're blocking me.
To me, that's like magic on stage. Is when you can see the collaboration together.
Yeah.
And it's like they exercise. Do you ever do that where you have to stop? You're walking in the room and you have to stop at the same time, which is just an awareness. Because some people come in and they're like, "Oh, I'm at a typewriter in my scene is I'm a guy on the typewriter," and you're not aware that there's a whole world happening behind you. Yeah,
awareness. Like I teach this at the university for like the first weeks. Now I have time.
Yeah,
we are just doing this and jumping at the same time.
Yeah, I love
and
it.
not being like. No, if someone loses the faith that we will do this at the same time, we will never do it.
Yeah.
Just patience, listening, all these kind of things.
Yeah. What do you think you bring as an improviser? What do you think your magic?
I think in the meantime, I'm really calm on stage.
Yes, I agree with you. I've never seen you have frenetic energy.
Yeah, I don't care. It's not. It's like just see what happens.
Yeah,
I think I bring patience and calmness.
Yeah, I like that.
And I also I have my energy, but
it's a patient. It's a very like your energy is much more planned, like evil genius. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I this is what I bring, and I don't panic on stage. It's like, if the story wants to go, if you want to play this, I'm fine. Then we play this.
Yeah.
Like, it's also with dealing with people who are like, no, nothing. I don't care. It's improv. We can do this together.
Yeah.
And discover a scene together. Or if you really want me to play over there, then okay, then I play over there. But what you cannot take away from me is how I play.
Right.
How my character is. How I play my characters.
Yeah.
I play whatever you want me to. Like, if I bossy people on stage, like, yeah, if I have to be this person, yeah, cool. But no, I play how I play this person. You cannot tell me.
Yeah. Oh, I love it so much. I could talk about improv all day with you. It is easily one of my favorite things to share a stage with you. I'm so happy we grabbed some time while you were in Toronto, but
yeah.
I already want more. I love it.
Yeah, we should do this more often.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to figure out. I'll write grants on this side. You write grants on this side. We'll meet in the middle.
Yeah, do something. Like, I have a little, and this is my thing at the moment. I'd like to start. There are so many I call them stranded improvisers, my age or our age, who were in groups but now kind of are alone.
Oh, you like orphan improvisers.
Yeah, and these are like all these brilliant improvisers.
Yeah.
Who don't, like, I'm a stranded improviser now as well, because I'm not in Graz anymore.
To do your Monday show.
To do my Monday show. To kind of collect them, and then whenever we show up in the world together, we can do stuff together, because it's all I would collect those people who think like me about improv. Mm-hmm. And there are so like Kiki's.
Yes, Kiki, who's in Montreal right now. Yeah. Imbal.
Imbal.
Yeah.
And then there are also some people who are brilliant improvisers, but never had a group.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe they don't even have to be improvisers. It's like... So this is my vision at the moment, to have a collaboration between... generation of improvisers who are, because they are the same generations, think about improv in a certain way.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Yeah.
But are also very strong individual improvisers who have their own way of acting.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Yeah.
Not that we are
We're
all
so
the same.
lucky, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine anywhere in the world, you can go and find somebody who knows somebody that you can improvise with.
Yeah.
And you'll have a common language. You might not speak the same language, but you speak the same improv language.
Yeah.
Lucky. I'm going to ask you the Firecracker closing questions. These don't have to be fast.
Okay.
They just have to be what you feel. Okay, for me, a firecracker is
somebody who can spread his energy all over a room and nobody can avoid it.
Great. What do you want to be best known for?
Oh my God. As someone who is inspiring people to do their own art or stuff or way of theater. Yeah. They should not do it my way.
Yeah.
But they should say, because I've met her, or she was my teacher, or she was my colleague on stage, I'm doing this now.
Yeah.
My way.
Yeah. I believe that. I believe that is already happening. Even from this discussion, I believe it. 2 words to describe your present state of mind.
I'm tired and sad and happy at the same time. Sad that I'm leaving and happy that I will be home soon.
Yeah, you've been on the road. What's something that people don't know about you?
That I often don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. That's the same with me.
They always think I know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm always like, I have just no idea. Like when I did the last, I don't direct that much. When I got assigned to do this last production with the Steirische Herbst, I said, yes, of course I direct this. And then I was like, what the fuck? I have no idea what I'm doing. And then I had this idea, and like, how is this going to work? It's like, just don't know. Mm-hmm. And then I always think, okay, but I have my ensemble, and I just give them something, and then they will do something, and then I grab it, and then I can work from there.
Yeah. What did you do when you felt like you didn't know?
I rely on other people.
You call up your colleagues and say, I don't know what I'm doing?
No, the thing is, I myself, if I'm alone, I don't have ideas. If I talk to somebody about something, then suddenly I have ideas. I need the others.
Yeah.
To get somewhere.
Yeah.
Doing a solo piece for me, no.
No. But that's going back to what we were talking about, collaboration and being like, I don't want to be collaborating by myself. You can't. No. Can you collaborate by yourself?
No. Please no.
What's something that you know that you have to do but you haven't done yet?
I'm thinking lately, because I'm now living in Germany and I have Austrian German, I should brush up my High German so that I get more work in Germany. Because this is a very German thing.
Yeah.
That you have to, if you want to work as an actor in Germany, you have to get rid of your accent. Also in movies.
Yep. Same in Canada. You can't have a Canadian accent.
Yeah.
It has to be more American. Yeah.
This is hard.
Yeah.
And I should do that, but I don't want to.
Okay. What is... this is an odd question, but like, if this was a movie, if your life was a movie, what has been a time that has been a climactic turning point?
Now, at the moment, I would say it was COVID, but like in the good way.
Yeah.
Because despite that I did not lose any work at the time, we talked about this, I had time to put the application together to apply for the professorship, and I would have never ever done this if I wouldn't have had this time to think about a concept of, or write it down, a concept of acting education, which is my way, not I teach Meissner or whatever. So what's my method to teach acting? And I wrote it down and I applied for actually 4 professorships, and I got into the last round of all 4 of the universities, and I got one
In Hamburg.
In Hamburg.
Yeah.
But it was my way of teaching, and not I'm teaching Stanislavski, Meissner, Strasberg, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and I would have never done this.
Amazing.
This is why I left Graz, or my home, when I was 52. I've never been I've been around in the world, but I've always been and lived and worked and was based in Graz. And I left my theater. I would have never thought that I would do this. This was always a nightmare for me to think that I would leave Theater Bahnhof, or that I would lose Theater Bahnhof, lose my ensemble, because as I said, I need the other people, that I would do something on my own and really say, that was a turning point.
So exciting. Can you imagine, and when you were 20, if I told you your life would change like this at 52, you'd be like, No. I'll be retiring at 52. I'll have a walker and a hearing aid.
Yeah.
And it's not even done. This is like another chapter.
Yeah.
What is, what's a firecracker? So somebody in your world that you think is a firecracker that inspires you.
Jacob.
Now, firecrackers typically women are non-binary, but yes, Jacob I think is like you're married to the. I think that's a given. Like Matt is constantly a source of inspiration. So easy.
And let's think about a woman. I have this one of my idols. I don't have idols, but if somebody says who is it in the improv world, it's Jill Ferris from Unexpected Productions.
Oh yeah.
She always blew my mind and still does when I see her teaching or performing. I'm always sitting there and thinking, wow, I want to be able to be like you on stage.
What is the element? What do you think she brings to the stage?
She completely commits herself to any moment and any person she is with. And she has this, she can take herself out of the equation and she can be with somebody, support, but also lead and give them directions if they are lost. And then the moment she sees they are they have something, then she is removing herself again and is just holding and supporting them. And she is such a tiny woman, full of energy, and it's always positive energy. This is what, like this positive energy. I've never seen her angry. Like I'm a pretty angry person. I can be angry. And it's always giving, but also being strong, not like just obeying and serving. It's everything.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I've never met her, but I look forward to it.
Yeah, and this is the sad thing. It's like in Seattle, people know her, but in Europe, nobody knows her. She is brilliant.
What is the best advice you ever got and the worst advice you ever got?
Oh, God.
Your face.
The worst. I'm not good in taking advices.
All right, let's move on. My final question is advice you would have given a younger Trixie.
A younger Trixie? Yeah, it's a younger or still me. It's like improvise more in your private life, because in my private life I'm not good in improvising, or like if something is not going like it's planned, I hate it so much. Really, and then I lose my temper, and then I'm scared, and I'm doubting, and I'm like, what I teach on stage to have this more in my private life.
Yeah.
Like I lose faith.
Isn't that so interesting?
It's
I know.
terrible.
It's so funny that we're on stage saying yes, move it forward, flow. Off stage, careful, what are you doing?
And I need to know where things are going, or I'm like,
Yeah. Well, did I miss anything? Do you want to tell me anything else?
No, just thank you for...
Oh my gosh, this has been so great. We've just spent time together because you're in Toronto visiting, but this has been like a bonus. It's so great. I'm so happy to...
I have to tell you that I was also there when you invited me to the Firecracker universe. I was like...
I mean...
And also when I met you, I remember when we were on stage the first time, I was also like, oh my God, it's her.
Oh my God. We were both just scared of each other. That's so funny. I was just, because also I'd arrived, you came late to the festival for some reason.
Yeah.
And so people were like, Trixie's coming. And I was like, oh God, like I was so excited and scared.
I was just jumping in. I was coming and getting dressed and then on stage. Yeah. And I was like, I've heard so much about you.
Yeah.
And Matt. And I was like, oh my God. And then we did this scene together and was like, oh.
Yeah. We fell in love. I love you. I think you're extraordinary. I feel so lucky to have had this conversation, but also have you in my orbit. Like, it's really special to me to know that in the world I have an artist like you that I can reach out to, and it means a lot to me.
Yeah.
All right. Is your creative tank full after that conversation? It was for me. You know what? I feel like I have been craving these talks, but I haven't done them for so long, like these one-on-one, and it's such a familiar place for me to be when I get to have one-on-one chats. And there was a little while where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm burnt out. I'm burnt out from talking. Who's kidding who? And to come back and have this artistic, inspiring discussion with Trixie was the perfect thing for my heart. So grateful, super grateful. You're going to want to go over to B_BRUNSCHKO, B Brunschko, and follow Trixie and find out what she's doing and find out where she's performing and find out where she's teaching, and then jump in on any of those workshops, because I guarantee you will learn something not only as an artist, but as a human. I guarantee it. And while you're in the social media world, go on over to @FirecrackerDEPT. Find us on all the different platforms, same handle. Go to our website, FirecrackerDepartment.com, and see what we're doing, because there's always something new cooking in the Firecracker Department world. And, you know, it's a big table. We have many leaves. We can always pull out another leaf and find another chair. We could put 2 chairs and a plank of wood so 3 people can sit on 2 chairs. We can do that. So go take this inspiration you're feeling from my discussion with Trixie and get it into some creative action. Hey folks, here's something new we're trying. We've started our very own Patreon page. You see, we wanted to get more in touch with you, our community. We wanted to get more involved with discussions and have more opportunities to share those discussions in a more one-on-one kind of way. So we'll be sharing bonus episodes, discounts on our events, VIP Zoom chats with special guests, specialized workshops, and more, just more and more cool stuff. So go on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/FirecrackerDEPT. Thanks so much to the podcast team. We've got Pao Carranza, who's producing it with me. Jennifer Morose is our consulting producer. Jennifer Rowley is our head editor. And Jana O'Connor is assistant editor. Rebecca Gismondi is our copywriter. Anna Moroden is our YouTube manager and video editor. Shout out to the Firecracker Department actioneers that make everything tick. Veronica Martin, Liesl Lafferty, Anita McFarlane, Pao Carranza, and Anna Moroden. And don't forget to rate and review our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, to get these voices and these stories shared with more of the world. Thanks, everybody. Go on out there. Have a firecracker day.